From Wembanyama's hyped career possibly being a disappointment because of his weaknesses, to him having no choice but to work on his shortcomings to be successful in the long run, here's how Victor Wembanyama's weaknesses could ruin his career. The Frenchman took the NBA world by storm in October of 2022, with everyone being amazed by his size and skills. I mean, this guy can do everything for his team, and most importantly, he gives his all on both ends of the floor. As for Wembanyama's defense, he's a menace, as he can defend and block almost any shot. On top of that, unlike other giants, Wembanyama dribbles the ball like he's a seasoned point guard. Though it's not just Victor's phenomenal skill set that's put him at the center of attention. It's the fact that he can do all that despite being a giant. Most big men are one-dimensional in terms of what they bring to the table. But as you guys know, Wemby's the complete package. He stands at a staggering 7 foot and 3.5 inches barefoot, while he's 7'5" with shoes on. Plus, he's got an 8-foot wingspan and his hands are gigantic. If you think I'm overrating him, let me whip out the numbers for you. During the 2023 season in the LNB Pro A, Wembanyama averaged 21.6 points per game, along with 10.4 boards and 3 blocks. He was so dominant that he led the Mets 92 to the finals. Though at the same time, many fans claim those numbers shouldn't be given much importance since he didn't do that in the NBA. But when he played against G League Ignite back in October 2022, he went beast mode, earning himself a ton of attention from fans, players, and analysts. So it's no surprise the NBA world's been talking about him like crazy ever since, including some of the best basketball players in the league. When reporters asked King James what he thinks of the French sensation, he called him a generational talent. But he didn't stop there. In fact, LeBron told reporters that he can't call Wemby a unicorn, since we've already seen so many in the past, such as Kristaps and Bol Bol. So LeBron says that you can only describe a dude as talented as the Frenchman by calling him an alien. According to James, Victor's the first of his kind, and I'll have to agree with Bron on that. Then we have Steph the Chef Curry, who compared Victor to the good old demigod builds we all hate to play against in NBA 2K. Since Wembanyama can do it all when he's out on the floor. And that's why the athlete gives Steph those cheat code type vibes. The Slim Reaper's also sold on the Frenchman, as he believes the league's in trouble when he comes in. The praise has only continued now that he's in the league because he's been playing really well. Wemby's the best player on the Spurs, and his 38.10 rebound outburst against Phoenix showed us all that he's got a ton of potential to be great. NBA players couldn't believe what they were seeing and took to X to express how amazed they were. Theo Pinson said that Victor's flat-out different, while Trae Young called him a special man. Even Channing Frye and Kendrick Perkins couldn't help but praise the big man for his performance, because it's proof that he has what it takes to be an amazing player in the league. But we don't know if that'll actually happen. After all, can't his weaknesses hold him back from achieving that status? I definitely think so. So what's the main weakness holding him back? Well, as you might have guessed, it's his height. The NBA is for the big boys who can withstand a world of pain. And for that, you need to be bulked up, especially if you play at center like the Frenchman. But Wembanyama's the exact opposite of that. He has a tall, slender build, and if you've watched the NBA, then you'd know that such players get destroyed in the post. Even though his size and build are some of the reasons he's been taking the NBA world by storm, history shows us that this can actually be a double-edged sword. Despite the fact that the NBA is known for having some of the tallest athletes you'll see, there haven't been many giants, and the ones that have made it rarely ever make their mark on the league. After all, throughout the 75-year history of the NBA, there have only been 26 players who were 7'3" or taller, and only 3 of them are current players. While size is undoubtedly really important in basketball, there comes a point when a player's simply just too tall. And it seems that Victor falls under this category. According to YouTuber Jimmy Highroller, the point at which an NBA athlete has too much height seems to be around the 6'11" mark. Most players above that height are bound to have serious, if not career-ending injuries, as well as health issues. So at a certain point, these athletes' heights end up being detrimental in the long run. And history tells us that giants such as Wemby are super injury-prone. Let's start with the tallest player in NBA history, Jorge Muresan. He missed 2 full seasons during his career because of a foot injury and ended up playing only 6 seasons in the NBA before retiring. Then, we have the 7'4" Rick Smits, who had to deal with serious nerve damage in his feet throughout his career. While the 7'3" Zydrunas Ilgauskas played in just 29 games in 3 seasons from 1998 to 2001. And of course, we have the 7'6" Yao Ming. Even though he had a Hall of Fame career, he also suffered foot and leg injuries which cut his career short and prevented him from being one of the greatest of all time. Not to mention, Kristaps Porzingis' career hasn't been the same because of injuries as well. Plus, the 7'1" Chet suffered a foot injury over the 2022 offseason after LeBron James bumped into him on his way to the rim. This is particularly worrying because Victor has the exact same build as Chet. Both players are super tall and skinny, with barely any muscle, so it won't be surprising if they suffer such injuries as their career progresses. Not to mention, if we look at the percentage of games missed from lottery picks sorted by height since 2000, players above the height of 7 feet have missed 26.2% of all potential NBA games. So, the odds are clearly stacked against Wembanyama, and it's not just me who's saying this. Back in November of 2022, Stephen A. Smith said that even though he's really amazed by the Frenchman's skill set, his main issue is that the kid's too damn skinny. According to him, players as fragile as Victor can't make it in the NBA long term, because when they see that they can match his skills, they'll simply be too physical with the athlete and outmuscle him with ease. So Smith said that while Wemby has the tools to be successful, he doesn't have the girth that needs to come along with them. Even Shaq has hinted at having doubts about Victor being successful in the NBA, because when he was posterized back in March of 2023, a page posted the video and captioned it, "Imagine what Embiid and Giannis would do to this man," and O'Neal reposted this on his Instagram story. Moving on to Tracy McGrady, he also said that Wemby's very thin, so he had his doubts about whether he'll be able to guard guys who are stronger and quicker than him, especially when they rough him up a little. That said, is this weakness going to lead to Wemby's career going down the drain in a few years? Or will he be able to overcome it? Well, I'd say he definitely can. All he needs to do is work hard at the gym. Let's not forget that Giannis was also once this tall, skinny kid who didn't look like he'd do much damage in the NBA. But he made a great decision by working hard on his body by hitting the gym. Soon he started becoming stronger and bulkier, which just took his game to the next level. And now look at him. He's one of the greatest players of all time. So the answer is clear. Wembanyama needs to be in the gym more often, bulk up, and be way more muscular. If he wants to continue his dominant performances in the NBA and be consistent, he'll need to get big like Giannis and LeBron at some point, or else he might just get injured a lot as time goes on. Most of the athletes Victor was up against in France weren't nearly on the same level as the players in the NBA, so it's important that he realizes this as soon as possible. The wear and tear of being up against dudes like Embiid and the Greek Freak takes its toll, so the only way for the Frenchman to live up to his potential is by getting big. I'm not saying the dude needs to get buff overnight, but by the time he's 24, he should aim to have a Giannis-like physique. So, from Victor having no choice but to work on his shortcomings to be successful in the long run, to a hyped career possibly being a disappointment because of his weaknesses, that was how Victor Wembanyama's weaknesses could ruin his career.